Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I'm your host, Bryan Devore. I'm also the director of the Senior Division for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services California Properties. And the reason why I bring that up is because by trade I'm a real estate agent and the market has been changing. Over the last couple of years, especially with the pandemic and even before that, it was more of a seller's market than a buyer's market. And what that meant is homes were selling a little bit faster, and maybe some agents might be cutting some corners in order to sell homes, but they still sold. Well, guess what? The market has shifted and homes are taking longer to sell. So we have to bring out all the tools in our tool chest when it comes to helping our clients get their homes the highest price possible in the shortest amount of time and get its notoriety, so to speak, and get out in front of the public. Well, one of the most tried and true things you can do is stage a home. And with me today to talk about staging a home and staging for success is Kim Kelly with Everything Creative Designs. Kim, how are you?
Thanks, Brian. I'm great. Lovely to be here today with you.
Great. I'm glad you're here because I really want to talk to the audience about staging, why it's important, what are some of the things it does for people to help get their real estate sold. How did you get into this line of work?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think I've really just fell into staging. It was not a career choice that I had years ago. I've owned my own business, so I was brought on to basically help develop Everything Creative Designs, but I also have a background in interior design and went to design school, so it's a perfect job for me because it really marries both of those.
Got it. So for people who don't know what staging is, what is staging?
So staging, in its most simple, basic form, is preparing a house to be sold. In my world, staging takes on many different aspects. I think the traditional viewer would think of staging as just bringing furniture into a vacant space. But as you know, the majority of homes are owner-occupied, so we have to be prepared to help homeowners who are actually living in their homes as well. That's a little trickier process because we tell a homeowner exactly what to take out of the house, declutter, and then what we're going to bring in. And for us to try and marry those two worlds is complicated, but we do it really well. And there's also a third aspect of what I consider staging, and that is not bringing anything in, but consulting on a home. Someone who does not want our furniture in there, has good things themselves, just kind of needs some advice from a professional on what to do. So I give them an entire list after I photograph and go into the house, and it is up to them to, do all those things or not do those things, but at least they have, some good, solid professional advice before they hit the market.
Right. So I kind of say tongue-in-cheek with my clients, I let the stager be the bad guy.
Okay?
Right.
Good.
I'm there to help to give them the tools they need to get their home sold, one of which is staging. I've been doing this for 19 years, so I have an idea of what it takes to make a house look presentable in the right way, but I don't have the background that you do, so I need to bring someone like you in to really be that bad guy and tell them what needs to be told to them.
And I am the bad guy in a very nice way, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fine line to tell someone that they need to take something out and not be offensive, but my job really is to prepare the house so that it shows the best for you and your seller.
Right. Ultimately, we all have the same goal.
That's right.
Is to get their home sold. That's what they want to do. So they're going to listen to the advice. There are several reasons why someone may want to stage. Let's talk about the three top reasons. First one is first impressions.
Yes. So when a buyer walks in a house, we really want them to connect with the house and have an emotional experience and attachment to the house. I heard a statistic, and I think I've shared it with you in the past, that a vacant house a buyer will walk into and stay for about 5 minutes. But a house that is furnished and staged, they will linger in the house for 40 minutes. So that's the goal.
It's a big difference.
It's a big difference. And the longer they stay in a house, the more apt they are to make an offer. So that is the goal, to connect the buyer with the house immediately.
Right. And also, too, I always talk about the components to getting someone into a home to see it, and and how they're going to get there is the price, of course,
Right.
It's how well it's distributed so that people can find it, but it's the photography, that first impression online.
That's right.
Because the majority of people, 92%, that stat may be higher now, are beginning their search on the internet, on a variety of different websites.
Yes.
And if you have pictures of a bunch of empty rooms, it's going to look a lot different than if it looks like your living room or your dining room or the model home. And I always tell people, well, model homes are staged, you know, they're not empty for a reason.
Right.
And when they see them online, they're more likely to go actually look at the home versus just bypass it because they can't really tell what the home's all about.
I mean, in my opinion, photography is literally the #1 thing that a stager should focus on. When we walk into a room, we are setting it up how it should be photographed. It may not be the way that you live in a house. The sofa we may put on a different wall because we want the space to be opened up. We also want to capitalize on all of the positive attributes of a house, whether it's a view, whether it's this beautiful wood floor or beamed ceiling. So we want to capture all of those things in the photography. So if we do a good job on our end, the photos are great, you're going to get more eyes on this property and hopefully a lot more people in the door.
Absolutely. So talking about what you said, the stat about 5 minutes people stay versus 40 minutes, that's probably the second reason to stage is it's more homey. They're going to stay because it's more like home.
That's right. Excuse me. In our company, we actually elevate the furniture and our items so that they're not staging items. We want people to come into the house, love it so much that they want to buy our furniture, and it happens often. We are asked all of the time, and you know, and we are a design firm also, so we approach jobs as a design. We take the exterior and the interior architecture into consideration, the placement in the city, whether it's a family neighborhood, a 55 plus, or it's coastal. All of that goes into our design of the home. And that's the way we approach our job.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because, you know, back in the day, people would bake cookies, you know, for open houses. Anything you can do to make it, again, more homey so people come in and they feel that warmth. Whether it reminds them of when they were a child or how they want to raise their family. You know, you go into the loft of a room, of a home, and it's got all the kids' stuff. It's like, that's who's likely going to be the buyer.
They can picture themselves there. And the other thing, and I heard this statistic, and this is a National Association of Realtors stat also, is that a buyer is almost 30% more likely to overlook flaws in a home if the home is staged.
Really?
I mean, that's a pretty significant number of people.
And now is that because they're not focusing on the flaws, they're not seeing them?
In a vacant house, you start noticing everything.
Right.
Nicks on a wall, a scratch on a floor, something that isn't perfectly done.
Right.
But if you have beautiful furnishings and art on the wall and mirrors reflecting good things, you're going to focus on that and you're not going to focus on any negatives.
Yeah, I mean, make it clear, people don't live in vacant homes.
That's right.
For a reason.
That's right. That's right.
They got to look like how they're going to live.
That's right.
And then the third thing is eliminates questions, and I think that kind of talks to that. It eliminates questions in their mind. If they're looking at 7 or 8 homes in a day, and they're exhausted and they don't remember everything, but they might remember that one home.
Well, and the more I travel through the city, we have a very interesting pockets in the city. I mean, homes are built very close together in some places. They're built on cliffs or up against hills. So the architecture can become confusing in some of these spaces. So if we execute a staging really well, it eliminates the confusing aspect of strange spaces as well. People tend to think when they go into a house, is my sofa going to fit here? Where am I going to put the dining table? Is my dining table big enough or is it too small? So that just the scale and space planning aspect of staging, I think really helps buyers when they go into a house.
The number one question I get from my buyers who I'm showing homes to is, will my bed fit? I have a big king size bed. Is it going to fit?
Yes.
They can't tell the space.
Right.
And what's always interesting is homes are actually bigger than what you think they are.
That's right.
And so that furniture that you're not sure is going to fits great.
Yeah.
But you need to have that bed there to see how that will work.
Yes. And maybe someone has benches at the end of their bed, and maybe those will or will not fit, or they need to buy extra furniture for a room. So all of that stuff is in buyers' heads when they walk through a house. I mean, I see sometimes 5 houses a day, and I sometimes get confused. So I can only imagine what, you know, a buyer going through 7 homes in one day feels.
Right.
It is confusing, but I got an A in space planning, so I
feel
good about that.
You probably did. I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
So, Kim, lots of great reasons why you should stage. I'm happy to talk with anyone who wants to learn more about, you know, the benefits of staging, but Kim's information's on the screen, so you can call her, learn more about her company, and what they do, why they do it, how they do it so well, and really learn and understand the benefits of staging and how it could help you and your goals. So,
Thanks
Kim,
so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.